Hello, my name is Forrest Pumpkin, and I'm creator of the Urban Realm website, which is what this video is on. Pretty much, I was trying to make a bunch of audio notes that I couldn't actually manage to upload on the site because apparently the website does not like the WAV format. If I can figure out how to fix that situation, I actually will. I'm kind of getting used to the fact that I'm reversed right now. I'm not used to that. But I just wanted to kind of present what it is that I'm looking for exactly. Just to give myself some ethos, as they say. I am pretty much a student who has recently graduated from the University of Maryland, College Park. I have a Bachelor's of Science in the degree of architecture. The reason why I'm looking up is because I have my degree in a tube still, and it's up on my bookshelf. So pretty much, I've always had an interest in urban design, and my whole thing about urban design is that I never really knew what it is urban design is. And I've read a few books, and by read I mean skimmed, and I've talked to some people who are involved in the Congress for New Urbanism, taken a class even on urbanism, so I guess I have done some reading. But in general, I've always been more intrigued by the public arena than the specific structures that form the cities around us. But more so, I'm actually even more interested in just the exterior design realm as a whole. And what I mean by that is that I really do believe that there's more of a system that connects us, that necessarily it's not just by looking at Baltimore and looking at Washington. It's more about looking at the highways that connect them, the stations and what's around those stations, the rural communities that are between them, looking at the whole picture, but not looking at the whole picture, if that makes any sense. And what I mean by that in particular is, usually when you're in school, the way we look at work done by urban planners and done over history is more on a broad-based historical scale, such as, well, in 1850, this was happening. Electric gas lights started happening around the 1850s, and those were used, and that's why this happened and that happened. Well, when you're walking around a city, who cares about that? I actually do find the history intriguing, but I don't find that nearly as intriguing as perhaps the notion that when I'm in a space, I enjoy it because of A, B, or C, as opposed to, well, this is a grid-like format as opposed to a radial format of a city layout. Now, if any of this is above anyone's head, I apologize, but that's the point. The point being, well, who cares if Paris is a radial organized axis if when you're in Paris you don't feel like it's a good city? Why is it that some people can go to Baltimore and hate it when some people can go to Baltimore and love it? Is it they went to the same spaces and they enjoyed or hated them in a different experience? Or is it because there's two different parts of the city and they didn't even encounter the same sort of experience? Some cities have unique experiences all throughout. Some have a pretty uniform experience. I guess it also depends on the size of the city. These are all questions that have to be answered on a personal basis. And I don't really intend to make a book like Voters telling you, oh, Baltimore is the city to be in, or these are the most underrated cities in the United States. What I intend to do is pretty much for my selfish own benefit of figuring out if there is something more aesthetic than necessarily, well, this is a grid, and I can see this building a few blocks up, which makes me feel more comfortable. Getting into the details of what is the main street and how does that street look? Not just a photograph, but analyzing that street at different blocks. These things might seem tedious and somewhat fundamental, but just an experiment like that can actually prove to be rather beneficial for how we view the world. So I think throughout this blog, what you'll see is I tend to like to write a lot. I'm more of a writer than anything. And I do like to draw the occasional drawing, and I am a fond photographer, though the camera I did show you is not my own. I stole it, so I'll have to find out how to get a camera of my own. But the main point of what I'm ranting about is that urban design and urban theory have to boil down to the really little itty bitty parts. The parts of, oh, there's an apartment in Brooklyn, and they live on this block, and what do they see, and why, and what controls that. Getting really deep into the really specific, without getting ridiculously zoomed out to the point where you don't really know what's going on. It just looks like a drawing, an illustration. Boston has this, New York has that. So I hope you enjoy what I have to write and you enjoy what I have to see, and I would appreciate anyone's feedback. Under 6 minutes.